He was playing with ants when he found the entrance to a miniature world. A single egg he casually placed inside, fed an entire village of 50 people for 3 days. They began to worship him as a god, and he made a habit of bringing them food. Later he saved a girl no bigger than a thumb, and realized this tiny world was actually the late Ming dynasty. It all started with a sandbox he found in an ant hill. He excitedly brought it home, and discovered tiny people moving inside. A girl with a bamboo basket was digging for roots and bark in the dusty yellow earth. Finding a few edible leaves made her as happy as finding treasure. But when she returned to her village, he heard strange sounds. A group of tiny men rushed toward the village, carrying rusty swords as they charged in. "Listen up," they yelled. "Bring all your food out right now, or we will kill every last one of you." The bandit kicked open the girl's door, dragging her and her mother outside. They began to cry and beg, "Please sir, spare us. We have no food. Look, we are eating roots." The bandit didn't care. He glared at the girl. "I don't care if you eat roots or bark. No food means you die." The girl burst into terrified sobs. Her mother threw herself in front of her begging for mercy, but the bandit slashed the old woman's neck. A dark liquid sprayed far into the dust. He then raised his sword toward the girl. He couldn't just watch anymore. He lifted the lid of the diorama, reached inside and gave a flick with his finger. Back in the Gao village of the Ming dynasty, a giant hand reached down from the clouds. The girl Gao Yi felt something block the sun. She looked up with tear-stained cheeks, and saw a massive hand speeding toward her. A finger flicked through the air above her. The attacking bandit was sent flying away from Gao Yi across the sky. He landed far beyond the village, in the dusty yellow earth with a thud, his body broken on impact. A low rumble of wind and thunder echoed above. "You vile bandit." Then the hand withdrew into the clouds and vanished. Gao Yi forgot to cry, just staring dumbfounded at the sky. The other bandits saw their companion fly away. They surrounded her with fierce looks. "What did you just do, girl?" Gao Yi held her mother's body, and shook her head in confusion. "Speak up or it'll make you talk." The bandit leader stepped forward, raising his rusty sword to strike. But the leader let out a cry and vanished in an instant. The remaining bandits were shocked. They began shouting at Gao Yi, their yells full of anger, panic and fear. Then Gao Yi understood. Only she could see the giant hand. She looked up toward the clouds, where the clouds parted, and a man's face seemed to float in the sky. Like a god gazing down on the mortal world, she laid her mother's body down, and knelt toward the sky. "Heavenly God, please save us." The wind and thunder rumbled again, as if something was falling from the sky. The bandits fled in terror. Then a massive palm slammed down from above, crushing every last bandit into the dirt. The diorama grew quiet. Doors in the dilapidated village opened, and tiny villagers crept out. They circled the flattened bandits, whispering. While they talked, they kept glancing nervously at the sky. Others gathered around the girl, asking questions. Their voices were like whispers, too faint for him to hear unless they shouted. Soon the villagers were busy. They stripped the bandits of weapons and clothes, giving one weapon to each household. They dug a pit outside the village, and buried the bodies. Then they cut some wood, to make markers for their own villagers' graves. No one in the village could read, so the markers had no words, just crudely carved symbols, to tell the families apart. The girl knelt before one of the graves, weeping and kowtowing several times. He watched quietly for a long time, until nightfall when he finally rested. The next morning, he boiled 2 eggs and returned to the diorama. The tiny people were already working. The girl was once again carrying her bamboo basket, searching for roots in the yellow earth. She had just lost her mother yesterday. Her grief was still fresh, but she had no choice but to search for food. Old man Gao had been digging in the sand for hours. His limbs grew weaker, and his body began to sway. He didn't know how long he could last before starving, but he knew the end was near. Just then a sigh echoed from the sky. "This girl's life is so hard." Hearing the voice, Gao Yi looked up, and saw within the clouds the face of a young man. The girl knew she might be saved. She bowed down again with deep reverence. "Heavenly God, I'm so hungry I can't go on. Please have mercy and save me." Gao Yi waited like a helpless little animal, quietly hoping for the god's blessing. But after a long wait nothing happened. She looked up to find the man's face in the clouds had completely vanished. "Does the heavenly God refuse to help me? Maybe killing those wicked bandits yesterday was just a whim. If he answered every plea, then why would suffering exist in the world? Besides, I never offered the heavenly God anything. Why should he help me?" She gritted her teeth and kept searching for roots. Meanwhile he stood up from the diorama, and walked to the kitchen where water was boiling on the stove. The 2 eggs he had placed inside were nearly cooked. He picked up an egg in each hand, and walked back to the diorama. Inside, the girl was still toiling in the yellow sand. He said softly, "Girl, let me try to give you some food." The girl froze, and looked up at the sky, her eyes filled with hope. The clouds parted to each side, as a giant hand descended. It placed a massive egg on the sand before her. Gao Yi's mouth fell open, staring in shock at the egg like some prehistoric beast. She stumbled backward in fright. It was a chicken egg.